There we go. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. We are here to talk about on-farm grants for cycle 2025 this year. This is our agenda to get us started. For the first portion of the meeting today, we'll ask that you remain muted so that the recording has as little background noise as possible as we're going through the information. Once we're through with the slides, we'll turn off the recording and we'll have a Q&A portion where where you're welcome to and you're invited to come off mute and ask any questions that you have. We are going to turn off, we're going to turn on AI Companion for the Q&A portion, and that's just to help us note take. If we do have anything substantive from that we want to share out, we'll be sure to remove any identifying information. It's more just for us to know what great questions you guys are going to bring. If you have a question that comes up during the informational section, please feel free to throw it in the chat and we will be sure to cover it when we get to the Q&A portion. All right. So who is presenting today? Who are these people in front of you? We've got myself, Hannah Lopez. I'm the administrator and project manager for the Louisiana Small Scale Agriculture Coalition, and I will kick it to Bahia.
Thank you, Hannah. My name is Bahia Nightingale. I'm the Executive Director for Farm and Food at Louisiana Central, and we coordinate the farmer training program in multiple cohorts around the state and help facilitate the Louisiana Food Fellows program with our partners at Louisiana FPAC. And I'll pass it to Marquis.
Hey guys, so excited to see so many farm names here that I'm glad are going to be applying this year. My name's Margie Green. I'm the statewide director of the Louisiana Food Policy Council. We act as the policy and advocacy arm of the Louisiana Small Scale Agriculture Coalition and are a proud member of the coalition. And yeah, just here to support and here to hopefully get a lot of money out to Louisiana farms.
Thank you, guys. So just for some context, who is LSAC? Who is the Louisiana Small Scale Agriculture Coalition? We are a statewide coalition of 8 food systems organizations. We have folks all over the many regions of Louisiana. Our goal is to strengthen capacity, resiliency, and economic opportunities for Louisiana small-scale agriculture producers. This can look like financial opportunities like the one we're talking about today, educational opportunities, as well as networking opportunities. So our partners include Shreveport Green in the Shreveport northwest region of the state. We've also got Louisiana Central in the central region of the state. Each of us do so many great things, and I invite you to check out our website and each of their websites to learn more about all the awesome programming everyone does. We've got Fightingville Fresh in the Acadiana region in the southwest region of Louisiana, Red Stick Farmers Market in the Capital region, and then we have 3 Greater New Orleans region partners, which include Sprout, New Orleans Food Policy Action Council, or Louisiana Food Policy Action Council. Some of you might know them. And then Market Umbrella, who runs the New Orleans Crescent City Farmers Market. And most recently, we have added on our 8th partner, Hummingbird Springs Farm, who will be our TA provider for statewide tribal nations and indigenous producers across the state. So these are the folks at LSAC. We all come together to help build opportunities for Louisiana's producers. So what is the on-farm grant? The sole purpose of these funds is to support projects for on-farm infrastructure for those who are growing and selling fruits and vegetables in Louisiana. Our main goal with these funds is to bolster our local food system by funding an increase in fruits and vegetables that are grown in as well as sold and make it to market in the state of Louisiana. So that's our main intention with these funds. The timeline and process. So we are about to enter our application period. This coming Tuesday, July 15th, the application will be made available to the public. That will be either on our website Or you can also, maybe you'll see it on social media, but it'll definitely be on our website at lsac.org/onfarmgrants. That information is later in these slides and will be emailed to you after this session. The application period is 2 months long, which is twice as long as last year. So we're hoping that helps folks to get your pitches together and get your documentation in order, give you a little more elbow room to figure out what project you'd want to put forward for this. As a note, we have a team of TA providers that we'll talk about later in the slides that are so ready and able and willing to talk with you about whatever your project may be, how this process works. So we'll have a process to help link you with those people should you want to request that support. The last day to request that support is going to be September 8th. Before the close of the application period. This just gives everyone time to make sure we have someone available to speak with you about your application. So be proactive if you'd like someone to talk with you through some of this. We'll have folks at the ready to do so. Our review period will start as soon as applications close. It'll be a 2-month period as well for our review team to look at all of the applications and make their decisions. And then notifications of our decisions and the disbursements will happen in mid-November and early December of this year. So our eligibility requirements for this year for On-Farm Grant 2025, they are a little different from the year before. Not incredibly so, but there are some distinct differences between last year and this year. The types of eligible farms that will accept for the on-farm grant are farms that are currently in business, growing and selling in Louisiana, that they are farms under 100 acres. And if you are a nonprofit farm, you may be eligible if the main focus of your operation is producing substantial amount of food for markets. If you're a nonprofit farm where sales of produce into markets is a minimal or supplemental portion of your programming, then you may not be eligible for the grant. The types of eligible projects that we will consider are, again, projects that specifically support the expansion or continuation of produce production and sales. This year, that includes fruits, vegetables, and mushrooms only. So that is a distinct difference from the year before. We will consider hydroponic and aquaponic operations. Also, if you see me looking over here, I just have another screen. We will also consider projects that relate to light processing. So cutting, preparing, packaging, freezing will be considered. Labor costs are also considered and acceptable if those labor costs are specialized labor, such as you are asking to build a new structure on your land and you need to hire an electrician to help complete that project. That would be an acceptable cost. If you include labor as your own time or the time of your staff to pay your staff, that would not be an eligible cost for the project. And to go a little more into value-added products, so we will accept projects or we'll consider projects of minimally processed whole fruits and vegetables, like I mentioned, chopping, freezing, things like that. We will consider those if you are also the person who is growing them. So if you're purchasing produce from a different producer in order to what's the word I'm looking for, process them to a certain degree, and then you're the person submitting that application, that would not be acceptable. But if you grow your own produce, process it minimally, that is an acceptable project that we will consider. More extensive value add processing, such as like salsas or supplements or juices, those are not acceptable forms of projects for this grant.
I, can I ask a question?
But would you mind throwing it in the chat and we can come right back to
Oh,
it?
sure.
Thank you so much. I definitely want to know it. We'll get to it in just a moment. Ineligible projects, just to make things clear, is if your project involves meat production, honey, or extensive value-added products like we mentioned, as well as plant starts, fruit tree production, seed production, or floriculture. Those are ineligible projects. To put a little more context to it, if you are submitting a project to grow nursery fruit trees in order to sell nursery fruit trees as your whole project, that is ineligible. The goal again of the grant is to get food to market. We understand that nursery fruit trees, the ultimate goal is to get food out to the community. But if your project is to sell a nursery fruit tree, that is ineligible. If you are seeking to purchase nursery fruit trees or plant starts in order to harvest from them and bring that harvest to market, that is acceptable as a project. And again, labor costs to pay yourself or your staff are not eligible. All of these slides will also be available to you after the session today. Okay, how do you apply? The process is incredibly similar to last year. If you participated in the grant last year, it'll be an online form that has some document attachments. This is just a preview of what the top of that online form is going to look like, just for familiarity's sake. And this is a lot of text to say that the link will be available on Tuesday to you. The form is going to ask really basic contact information of you as well as basic farm information of you. It will ask 4 substantive questions about your project and your farm. And then we're going to ask for some document attachments. One is a required signed W-9. We'll have a link to a blank W-9 on the application just for ease of access. We also highly recommend that you submit an itemized budget or quote for your project. We've got a sample budget linked on the application as well, just to kind of show you what we're looking for. That's not required, but it does help us a lot to better understand the project you're putting forward. And then an optional attachment you can add. Some of you may have seen that we've run a few education opportunities, either virtual or in person this year, that noted that you would receive priority consideration on grants if you participated in them. Those are specifically the February virtual series and the recent June in-person costing event. If you received a certificate of completion from us for those, you can attach that to this grant application and it will be considered with your application. All right. So really brief overview of how applications are reviewed. We're not looking for the most the best technical writing skills. We're looking for the merit of your project. We just want to hear your best pitch forward of what you think, how you think your project reaches the goal of Louisiana grown food to market. Please submit any supplemental documents you think would help make your point of your pitch best. Some folks last year submitted, even like Google map shots of their plots to show like where they're going to put certain things. Some folks submitted quotes from if they're trying to purchase equipment. So anything you think would help highlight or better describe your project would be great to see. Our review panel are folks that are involved in LSAC, and they're a stipended panel of farmers, aggregators, and farmers market managers. And we'll also have a public rubric that will be posted on our website. There's a place for it now, but no link exists just yet. It will be live by the time applications are made available. And that public rubric, what it does is just kind of show you the areas that we're considering when we're reading through your project. Okay, so award limitations. The grant allows for a minimum award of $2,000 and a maximum award of $50,000. You can apply for the on-farm grant multiple years in a row. However, if you receive a total of $50,000 from us from this particular grant, you cannot apply in future grant cycles. So for folks who, I don't know that we had a 50,000 last year. We had some folks that were close, but once you reach that 50,000 mark, you do not qualify for future grant cycles. It's also important to highlight that you will receive a 1099 if you are given an award grant, and that may have implications on your personal or business taxes. So just keep that in mind when you're putting together your budgets and thinking about your projects. And then the funding from this grant is provided from a private grant we received from our partners Novo Nordisk, which has helped fund this for 3 cycles. We're now in our second. So, something that is good to know, if you do receive a grant from us for on-farm grants, there are a few requirements that will come into play after receiving those funds. First, in order to get the disbursement, we need to make sure we have your signed W-9 on file, and it's also that your W-9, the name on it must match where you want that check to go. So if you want it to go to you and your name, give us a W-9 with that information. If you want it to go to your business, provide us a W-9 with that information. And then in order to receive your disbursement, you must sign an award agreement. And that award agreement outlines these other requirements, which are 6 months after receiving any funds from us, we're going to ask for a report back from you. That ask will come over email. It will have a link on there. It will have another form that looks very similar to the application form. And all we're asking is for just a few photos of the progress of your project and a paragraph description of how the funds have moved your project forward. At the 1 year mark, we'll do the same thing again. So it's just 2 points throughout the year after being awarded that we ask for some input from you guys on how the funds have impacted the project on your farm. Farm visits may be required as part of the report back process, and you will be notified at a minimum of 2 weeks before any farm visit, should be scheduled or asked of you. Also important to note that if you do not comply with the report back requirements, that it could possibly make you disqualified for future grants. So it is important to, keep the lines of communication open. We're also just excited to see how the dollars impact your farm. So it's important to keep up with that. Now, how to request help. We have a TA team that has LSAC members, staff across the whole state, and they are ready to take your questions. They're ready to take your phone calls. The way you can ask for that support is by submitting your request for technical assistance on this form. It's a really, really basic form. It's already linked on our website, and you can submit that. You'll be paired with an LSAC staff TA member, and someone will get in touch with you and help you with your questions. Yes, so the link is here, but it's also on our website. And again, the last day to request that assistance is September 8th. Okay. And that's all for the informational slides. Thank you all for joining us for it. And yeah, just plugging that our website has a lot of cool other tools and resources. So just, feel free to peruse those at your leisure. Okay, thanks y'all. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn off the recording and we can do questions and answers.